This is Daniel O'Reilly of Drogheda United. You are watching Irish Footy Vlogs. Please subscribe to the channel.
Hi guys, welcome to the First Division preview show with a full fixture list this weekend. Every game is on Friday night. We'll start off with derby match, Keano. So as Bray Wanderers taking on Cabinteely. Bray have actually battered Cabinteely twice this season. So Cabinteely, I don't know, they'll want to try and get something here, you would think. But Bray are 15 points ahead of them at the table as well in the game in hand. Big gap. I'm not sure I would have predicted that at the start of the season. If I did, I would have said Bray are probably higher in the table.
Yeah, it's a massive gap for such a short league. And such a small league, you know, only 10 teams.
It's like 27 games in the league itself, yeah.
So it's crazy amount of games, crazy amount of points ahead. It all points to a great Bray win. I think they'd be delighted with that. But, you know, in the First Division, that's not always the case. And Cabinteely seem to show up and get results in tough places. I'm going to have to. I very rarely do, but I'm going to have to pick Bray this week. I don't know why I don't, but I'm going to go for a Bray win. I think it'll be fairly comfortable, hopefully, I think.
I find there's certain teams, when I go for a win, they lose and vice versa. And actually, Bray are one of them for some reason. One draw all season for Cabinteely, so I'm going to say it's not going to be a draw. What do you think?
Yeah, look, Cabinteely have either won or lost pretty much all the games, mostly being lost, unfortunately, for Cabinteely. And not to go too much off topic, because we said this a good few times on the show, like, well, it's disappointing where they are this season, considering where they were in previous seasons. I don't think many people would have predicted them to be down where they're at, but hopefully they can get a few more bodies in the off season and get a different kind of team, you know, get a few more midfielders in, another striker in, and a few more wingers in, and be more competitive next season. But looking at towards this game, you know, there's
love to say a couple of strikers, midfielders and wingers. You just left out defenders.
A whole new team. But yeah, look, they're just poor this season, you know, and they have been very poor, and it's unfortunate to be where they're at. Like, but Bray have been very good, obviously, and they're 15 points ahead, and that's quite some distance to be ahead. And as we said there as well, Bray don't normally draw games either. They normally to win a lot of their games. Sorry, don't lose much of the games, so I should be saying. They kind of win or draw most of their games, which are always very hard to beat.
Only 5 defeats all season, yeah.
That's serious going. Like, you know, they've won the last 5 games this season. So yeah, it's all pointing towards Bray to get a draw anyway in a minute. But I'd be saying a Bray win anyway, and I think they'll win pretty comfortably as well. I think to keep a clean sheet, I think it'll be 2-0 to Bray.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a Bray win as well. I think it'd be comfortable 2 or 3-0 as well. But there's Bray fans I know who are going to be watching this going, for God's sake, they're after all going for Bray. We'll move on to Cove Ramblers and Shelbourne at St. Coleman's Park. And Shelbourne played pretty much a reserve side, Keane, their last game. And although they do have the quality in the reserves, it's just you lack that cohesion when you make that many changes. And they'll be seeing the season out. There's no doubt they'd love to go the season with that one defeat. Cove will be happy winning Cabinteely their last game, and I suppose they look at the table, Cove, and say, at least if we can get fit, if we can finish 8th, it's something. I know it doesn't sound great, but you know, it's something.
Yeah, this won't be a game I'll be looking back on. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I will not be looking back on this game. It's going to be.
That's fine. Daz will be doing that.
Yeah, it's going to be good to see, you know, what the outside is going to be put out. Now, I do think, like, in fairness to them, and they really deserve the break. I think a lot of the players probably enjoyed themselves, you know, and they were dropped. Well, they weren't dropped; they were rested, I would say.
They were probably dropping though.
Yeah, no, you know, when you win a league, you're entitled to that, and that's why it was kind of a makeshift side last week. And like, it was a funny story. I remember when we won the league on the Friday night, we lifted the title, and on the Sunday we played Shamrock Rovers in the Leinster Senior Cup final. And my God, the players were in ribbons. Like, Bisto Flood was just something to dug out, and he was pissed drunk. Literally, I swear to God, and I'm not joking yet.
To be fair, though, a game on Sunday after winning the title on Friday.
Yeah, all the players were in bits because we won the league we won the league probably 2 weeks before that. So it was like 2 weeks of on the lash. And then you lift the title, everything goes mad.
So it's a renewed lashing.
Yeah, and then on the Sunday you're playing after it. So I'd say it was mental. But you know, Shells, well, it's a great position to be in. It's brilliant for them to enjoy themselves. And I think, you know, they're going down here after winning the league, which is fantastic. We're going down here now, and if the league was that little bit tighter, it'd be a very tough game. But, you know, I think Shells probably should win this. It depends on, like, let's say what side or whatever happens. But I still think Shell's second team is probably better than Colt's first team. So it's a very hard game to call because they're after winning the league and the mindset is a little bit different. So I'm gonna go for Shell's win, but like I said, it depends on a lot of different things.
Yeah, I mean, Shelburne in a very good position now going into next season because obviously they're promoters and there's still 7 games to go in the Premier Division. So it kind of gives them an opportunity to, I know other teams are looking at players and things like that as well, but it gives you, you know, free scope to really plan and maybe possibly get a leg up on other teams who still are playing competitive football, I suppose.
I think, you know, all jokes aside, like, you know, the fact that they've lost a game this season already, they won't have it in their heads of trying to go a whole season unbeaten. So I think that will give room to try and change the team around. And this might give less, you know, players that weren't getting a chance in the team to try and prove the work, because I'm sure there's going to be some subs or reserves for Shelburne that's going to want to stay in the team and want to be in the Premier Division with them next season. And, you know, if he gives them a platform to go out and play and actually get a few games and play them, you know, it might let players win themselves a contract at Shelburne or elsewhere. You know, if someone else comes up in the league or, you know, other Dublin teams might look at them and might give them a chance, you know, even the Premier Division or Division 1. So I think, you know, it is like these games are important for Shelburne for different reasons, you know, rather than obviously getting points. Now that's great, like, but the league's won and they've already lost a game this season. So I think this game for different reasons gives players and the whole club itself a different, like, you know, reason to be looking at players, looking at the league and seeing maybe where they need to kind of get recruitment right for the Premier Division to make sure to stay up. So for example, you know, if they were to play 2 different midfielders and they see that they're just not up to it, they'll know they need to go and get 2 midfielders for sure that be able to play in the Premier Division. So if they lose their starting players throughout the season, they've got players to come in and play, and they won't be exploited in positions then if they go critically low in, you know, a specific position in the season. So I do think it's an important game for that reason. But as well as that, I think any team that's the bottom 3 Division 1, if you're Shelburne with this team, you should be beating them. Your reserves should be beating them. I think it should be an easy game for them. But, you know, if you're still on the lash, if you're still with the clubs, it'll be an easy game for them then. But, you know, these players that's, you know, haven't really been getting game time will want to come in and put themselves in the shop window. So I think it'll be a very competitive game for Shelburne, and they should win it comfortably enough. I think Cove, they don't really possess any real quality. They're very, very young. A lot of them are most senior league players that stepped up for them, and, you know, they're 8th, they're not bottom, but they want to try and push on and do as well as they can do, and they'll be playing pressure free as well. And, you know, they've got nothing to lose as well. So, you know, it's not one I will be looking back on, but I can't really see anything else there than the Shelburne win. And I hope as well for Shelburne fans that do rotate their team again and that they do play the players that haven't been getting game and to see what they can do, like, see what level that they're at, and give them time to play. Like, you know, it could be good for some of the younger players to come in and play as well, just to see how they go.
I think you're right, though. If they were unbeaten, they'd have that extra bit of motivation to go the season unbeaten, but that obviously isn't there. But having said all that, yeah, I think Shelburne should win the game anyway, to be honest. Pinch it maybe 1-0 or something like that. Galway take on Wexford at Eamon DC Park, and Galway are in a position where it looks like they'll finish second in the league, so they'll likely be taking on whoever finishes 5th, who really could be anyone at this minute in time. But all Galway have to do is keep up that form that they've been on, Keane, and you fancy them taking Wexford here, even though Wexford have improved a little bit the last few weeks?
Yeah, I don't really.
No.
You know, it's tough. Wexford have been probably a breath of fresh air in the last couple of weeks, the last couple of months, you know, and it's mad to think if Ian was probably there from the start, you know, could they be knocking on the door for a playoff? Or, you know, it's hard because you won't get a new manager bounce, you won't get all of that. So
it's hard to say,
take into account. Yeah,
but it makes next season actually very exciting for Wexford, though, from an outsider looking in.
Definitely, and I think Wexford can make this game very tough here. I don't know if they'll win it, but I might go over one of your specials and go over a draw.
Not my special this week, Daz.
Well, I know you said there. Firstly, I know you said that like Wexford fans be looking forward to next season, but will they? They'll be losing some of their best players again this season. You know, like Jack Mylan's probably their best player. I think, not being biased now about that, but he probably won't be at Wexford next season. That's a huge gap that they're going to try and fill. And he scored a lot of important goals for them this season. It's set up an awful lot of goals, and he's made things happen for him in the middle of the pitch, and he's played up front a few times in different positions. And
I think there will be that from a freshness of Ian Ryan's perspective, from the new manager coming in, and you know, he's good ideas. Seemingly, he's always a good coach, but he's bringing that into management now, and there is a chance they can nick one or two loanees elsewhere as well. You know, there's a lot of quality young players in the league that mightn't get in for Bowles, Shamakovers and Pats next season. They'll see the success of your Moylans, Robinsons and maybe Keane Kelly and players of that and say, hang on a minute, Wexford, look at the way they play. Let's, you know, 100%. It's a good move for us to move them there. So you have a lot of that comes into the equation. Like
some of the younger players, Bowles, like they played like Aaron Doran and a few other players, like Colin and all these lads that came in for Bowles and played very well in the cup games, and if they can go down to Wexford and get experience and come back a better player, I'm all for benefits. So I'd be delighted to see that. But in terms of this game, you know, they're going up against hefty opposition now in Division 1. That, you know, Galway be looking forward to playing whoever's finished fifth. You know, I'd back them to beat them anyway and reach the final. I think they will. So, you know, they're playing potential Premier Division opposition. Bit optimistic by me, but you know, that's where we're at. And I think Division 1 could be split into nearly two leagues in terms of who's up here and who's down here. I think there's golf and class in the league that way. So I think when you look at it from that perspective, you'd have to just go with Galway win. And you know, I don't like just saying that, but I don't really see any other way about it. I'd love Wexford nick the win or got a draw, or you know, if Mylan popped up with a goal and an assist, it'd be great to see. But they're a very young team. Galway are a lot more experienced. They've got a lot of seasoned pros in the team, a lot of ex-Premier Division players, and been in great form this season. They've scored an awful lot of goals. I think at one stage they're like just behind Sherburne in the leading scorers at one stage in the season. So, you know, they've done very, very well. So you'd have to be going with a Galway win, I think.
They don't concede a lot of goals. 21 they've conceded, and Shelburne have conceded 20, which is impressive. So that's typical John Caulfield, and that's why they're dangerous in the playoffs as well. I think they'll nick this game as well and kind of cement themselves second in the league. Treacy take on Athlone, and Treacy are 6 points of Athlone, but have a game in hand. You'd fancy Treacy will say to themselves here, Cian, look, this is our chance. 3 points here. We're officially into the playoffs as well. And we've seen off Athlone. Athlone are just hanging there, but hanging there ready to fall, really, aren't they?
Yeah, if they get a win here, or open them up again, which I still think they'll fall out, even if they do get a win here. But, you know, you'd like to think Treaty will win this game and, you know, cement their place in the playoffs, and definitely deserved. Not in a position where I thought I'd see Treaty United. The start of the season, I think I put Wexford bottom and Treaty underneath them. A Treaty just above them, like, so. You know, I think it's mad how
that was the unknown. I did the same, 9th or 10th. That's because we didn't know much about them or what they'd be like. So you'd no choice nearly. You couldn't say they're going to finish 4th or 5th anyway, because you didn't really know the makeup of their squad and how they'd link up and all that stuff. You know.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see. But I do think they'll win this game. And, you know, Treaty, Galway, them two possibly could give whoever finishes 9th a run for their money in terms of how hard they are, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Hard they are to beat.
I think so as well. Like you could see, for example, without going back, a John Caulfield special could easily happen against a team that finished 9th in the league. Daz, how do you see this game, Treacy on Athlone?
Yeah, look, I've watched a few Treaty games this season and I've been impressed with them. You know, the playing units, their back four is very, very good. They play very well together. The midfield, they play well together. They move the ball around really well, and obviously they've been getting into goals as well. So, you know, they've been coached very well and they are hard to beat. Like, and they were a surprise package this season. No one predicts them to be where they're at. So that's brilliant to see, and it's a breath of fresh air to be where they're at. Like, you know, and you know what? No one will be looking at this and they're not going to be thinking that playoffs are completely out of reach. I think they're like 6 or 7 points like behind fifth or sixth.
Only behind Bray. Brave a game in hand though. That's their problem as well.
See, look, when teams have games in hand, it's kind of where you kind of lose a bit of motivation really, because it's not just 5 points. It's what if they win the next game? What if they get a draw? It's now 6 points. It's now 8, 9 points. But I think Athlone will have to be trying to push as high as they can go and try and go on a run towards the season if they want to try and get in the playoffs. If it's anywhere mathematically possible, they can't give up. And I think if they give up, that's just not good enough. They need to be trying to win every game that they can. But I think it's actually going to be a competitive enough game in this league and this game anyway. I think I'll actually be going with maybe a 1-1 draw. I think both teams are kind of going to go at it. Just from where both are in the league. Like, they're not dangerously low in the league and they're not really up really high either. So they're kind of mid-table, balances out a little bit. So I think it'd be a 1-1 draw for myself.
Yeah, I don't see Athlone kind of giving up, to be honest with you. It's just a question whether they're good enough to go to Treaty on the day and get a result. I think if they get a draw, it's a good result, but doesn't do them any favours. You know what I mean? So I think Treaty will win this game, to be honest, and at the very least get a draw. UCD take on Cork City at Belfield, and UCD look like they're okay now in the playoffs. They're in third place. Cork City obviously down in 7th. A good result last week, but mathematically, it's not possible for Cork, actually. Let's be honest, they're gone. This could be a good open game of football, though. Both teams, particularly Cork recently as well, have been scoring a lot of goals and be a bit more attractive, Keane, haven't they? UCD, we know what they're all about. Liam Kerrigan as well now has stepped up at under 21 level for Ireland, which is great to see as well. And he'll be wanted in the shop window, I'm sure, as Colin Whelan will too.
Yeah, definitely a couple of players off UCD that are probably making the headlines a little bit on ways out, and it's the same every year. They're used to it at this stage. I just don't know what way to call this. I think it's a tough one. UCD are going to be up there, like I said a minute ago. I said about Treaty and Galway, but UCD will certainly do a job up there as well. So it's going to be very tough. I don't know. It's Mark McNulty's birthday today as well.
Birthday, Mark.
Happy birthday, Mark. Hope you have a great day.
How old is he?
Really?
Is he the big one?
62.
Is he the big one?
62.
Well, he's not far off, and let's just say. But fair play to him. Happy birthday. But I don't know. I think if Cork win this, they make it a little bit interesting, and I mean a little bit. I still think they're way out of it, but they'll feel themselves that they can make a right push at it. But UCD can score goals, and UCD can hold you in advanced areas. So it's whether Cork can keep the ball out of the net one end and score down the other, or even outscore. UCD is probably the only way of beating them. I can't see Cork winning this. I think it's be special for them. But I'm gonna go for UCD win.
Yeah, that's just slightly outside the game. I'm not sure. UCD are a good side, as Keane says, score a lot of goals, but to get through the playoffs, you need to win. You need to get through 3 ties, right? I think they concede too many goals to do that. They conceded 36. A lot of the teams around them, Shelburne 20, Galway 21, Treaty 24, Bray 24. I'm not sure if they have it's not even their defence. It's the style they play. They just play attacking football. I'm not sure they can keep enough, get enough dogged results to get up, really, to be honest with you.
I think one of UCD's problems is, and a few teams can be a victim of this, is they play too much pretty football and they can't turn it ugly to get results when they need it. And I think UCD... Is
that what you're referring to?
No.
But he's getting killed this week, isn't he, Keane?
Poor
Daz will never be back. He's lost.
UCD play very pretty football, but they can't turn it ugly to get results in the half time. I think that's going to kill them in playoffs and stuff like that, and it kills any team going forward. But I have to say, I don't know, I disagree with Keno. I think this is going to be a nail on UCD win. I think just player for player, UCD are just so much better. They've had so much more consistency. They've got so many more wins this season. I know they've conceded a good bit of goals this season, but they've scored a hell of a lot more as well. So they are high scoring, and I just think player for player, they're just so much better. And Cork are down towards the bottom of the league for obvious reasons, but they've come back in recent months and weeks. But UCD have stayed in the playoff and they pushed the whole way up. So I just think it's a nail on UCD win. I think they could win this 2-0.
Yeah, I think if you were to watch one game in the first division, though, this weekend, this is the one I'd probably watch. Obviously, a lot of that has to do with UCD, but also Cork up top have been better with Murphy and Whitmarsh and that recently as well, and Coffey as well. So it'd be a very open game. But I do think UCD might pinch it as well. It could be 1-0, but still an open game. Do you know what I mean? So it's bound to be a good game, this one. So guys, look, we'll leave it there. Please subscribe if you're new. Hit your bell notification button. Let us know what you think in the comments. Brilliant stuff. Cheers, lads.
Ole, 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 ole.